Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are after market close on Monday, November 1st. We're going to take our Monday look at Palantir. If you're unfamiliar, every Monday I cover Palantir, so if that's something that could be interesting to you, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications. Let's first go through the day today. I took a call option on Palantir today. I think a $29 call option expiring whatever is after earnings, or maybe it's the 19th. I don't know. Sometime after earnings, but in November. Because I saw some nice movement obviously taking shape. So coming down today, obviously you wouldn't have seen this at the time, but it started to establish this uptrend that it held most of the day, and reconfirmed here and reconfirmed here. What I was really looking for, which I got at this point, was a breakthrough of this topping out that we had seen earlier in the day. So it had done a couple of really nice things here when I decided to take this call option. One, it had sort of quadruple confirmed this uptrend, and it had broken out of the resistance level that it was holding intraday. And then, it came down, it was sort of forming this very steep downtrend toward, or downtrend resistance toward the uptrend support, which is always an interesting conundrum for a stock to get into. And it looked like it wanted to hold it, but then it fell through. And what I was looking for was to make sure it wasn't going to break this level, which it had established. So basically, was it flipping it to really strong support? That held true, and so I, retained my position. I was okay with taking it as just an intraday position if it warranted, but it looked to me like things were sort of panning out pretty well, so I've held on to it for the time being. But that's how I sort of looked at it today. Did it flip previous resistance to support? And that was certainly the case. The nice thing about an area like this too, intraday, was that it had the VWAP right there as well. So I probably, honestly, in this instance, would have let it slip down to VWAP and test the VWAP if it needed to. But it didn't need to. So there we go. Now an update on the daily chart that we have in place here, and I'll sort of talk through this for any new folks, but basically this white channel here, you see the upper bound and the lower bound of this channel that Palantir has been in since about April, May of 2021. I've been doing a really good job testing the upper and lower bounds. So I've been accumulating positions as we've been sort of testing the lower bound of the channel, and then having that lower bound of the channel treated as my stop loss zones. But I'm going to cut these out for now just because they're just kind of cluttering up the charts, and I think it's more valuable to put in some positions that are more relevant to where we are today. And if we need to, we can always pull in some support levels to the downside if it happens to fall back through. But for the time being, I'd be looking for that 2611 to hold up. The next most important thing that I'm looking at still is this red zone. So previously, it had topped out here. Not so dissimilar from what we saw at the intraday that I was just showing with that white box. And last time it had a big move up, it had breached that zone, but I think this is when that news came out about them losing a contract or something like that. And I think that it was more catalyst driven that it lost that zone. So I'm really interested to see how much selling pressure there is in this red box area. And that stretches from on the downside is about 2730, say, to about 2775, about that area. So basically, if it can get it to about 2780 or so, that's it sort of peeking through that strong resistance level that we've seen before. And I'm hoping that because it was able to, have a good burst through there last time, that it's able to kind of cruise through there this time as well. Now, if it is able to, what I'm looking for to the upside, now I've been saying this for a long time, you can go back several weeks to my Palantir videos. What I'm looking for here is $30.99, which is a 100% extension level from a fib extension, fib retracement and extension level that we had plotted, like I said, several weeks ago. So that is still my target, but in the meantime, I'm looking at this red box area, obviously, and then I'm curious to see if this is I actually don't think that there's that much resistance here. I think that this just happened to come up toward the upper bound of the channel, come down to retest that support zone, in the $26 area, and then it was making another run up, and then it caught bad news and it came back down. I think it's just sort of happenstance that it happened to be in the same area. I don't see a lot in previous price action. I mean, maybe this area here, but I mean, that's not a real critical pivot point as far as I can tell. So, we'll put that 29.16-ish area as sort of a, it's just kind of has a bit of a history of selling there, but I don't know how strong that'll be, so I'll dot it because I think it's quite questionable. I think stronger pivot point is really right here. And I'm just going to chart this one so that we don't have a super cluttered chart today. Since we just got rid of stuff, I don't need to immediately fill it up. But that 30.55, so as we're approaching that like 30.99 that I was talking about looking for, I think that that's probably going to be some pretty solid resistance, just because that's, like I said, resistance, resistance here, resistance there, but flip to support there, right? And definitely this area to the upside is 32.60, but we'll plot that when we get there. We don't, like I said, we don't need to just clutter the chart up to clutter the chart up. But in the meantime, what I'm looking at is this channel, mostly fixated on the channel. And then this curve that's happening right now, this curl up, does look very similar to what happened here, right? That motion looks very similar to me. Building a small base, but then mostly just looking to curve and stay right within the bounds of the channel. So obviously that played out quite well and had a really nice push up. At that point, it was from about 21, 22 up to 29 or so. And, so this time if we get a similar push up, I'm hoping that we can push ourselves through that range. But like I said, this is looking really nice to me for the time being, and I don't know if I should put a level down. Well, let's hold off because we have the 26.11 support, and then we also have the lower bound of the channel if we need it. So happy with those for the time being. For good measure, we can take a look at a few indicators and just sort of see how they're looking. MACD, bullish crossover, sitting right at the baseline at the moment, so plenty of run room to the upside if it wants it. The RSI stretching up above the 50 midpoint, so that's a really good indication to me. You see it caught 50 resistance there, broke through and confirmed support on the mid-range, and now has started to jump up. So I'm hoping that this gives us a really good push into overbought territory. If we're going to look at the EMAs here, we have a nice bullish crossover here, the 12 crossing above both the 34 and the 50. So nice movement there on the EMAs. And then if we want to look at the Ichimoku cloud, we're in the cloud right now. So that's typically it would be said not to trade in the cloud. So take that for what you will. But if this gold colored line right here crosses over this yellow line here, that would be considered a buy signal, like a moderate buy signal. Strong buy signal if the price action is above the clouds, weak buy signal if it's below the clouds. But that's how it's looking to me. Everything looking really, really solid. The on-bounce volume looking fine. I don't see any divergence that would be sort of concerning. So yeah, I'm happy with the motion so far. It's why I grabbed an additional position. I'll see if I end up holding it close to earnings. I won't hold it through earnings because I don't want the IV crush. But the IV leading up to earnings could help jump the price a bit, but I'm hoping the price action will just do a bunch of that work to get us there. And also, I'm big into SoFi, obviously, and was watching a bunch of these other ones today, like MTTR, and several others that were just having really big days. And I kind of thought, as I was trying to figure out what position to grab today, that Palantir is having a pretty modest day up for the time being, given the other tickers that I was watching. And like I said, that's when it was like around this area over here. So glad that I was able to hop in, and I was tweeting about it as well earlier today. So my Twitter handle is in the description below if that would be interesting to you at all. All right, folks. Well, I hope that your trading week got off to a good start. And as always, I appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next video.